Let's talk about genius. Picasso's dream in Paris made his eyes sparkle. He hopped aboard the train of dreams to Paris, but he had to wait for cash to buy a ticket. Carl said the Paris exhibition sought Spanish art, suggesting Picasso enter, but his painting soon got a special review. Calling him a poor imitator upset Picasso. He submitted his work and was surprisingly accepted to the Paris City exhibition, but still no travel money. Talk about a superhero dad. He spent all his savings on his dream. In Paris, Carl understood why Picasso didn't meet him at the station. Picasso was so absorbed in creating, while Carl introduced 3 models to Elle. Struggling to paint 2 at once, he passed one model over to Elle, thinking, talk about a lucky first impression, are you serious? We went to Paris, only to find our wallets were as empty as our stomachs. Picasso decided to sell his paintings, but the agent said too many Spanish painters in Paris, hard to sell. Just as Picasso was ready to give it up, this agent unexpectedly agreed to help him consignment 3 paintings. Shockingly, they sold for 100 francs. And this was 1900. The buyer wanted to meet Picasso via the agent, who joked, he's short, good luck dealing with him. The agent pretended friendliness, selling art is hassle, but don't worry, all sold thanks to me. Just 50 francs for Picasso. Seriously, this agent was quite the shock, promising 150 francs a month, but only if every piece Picasso produced belonged to him. And regardless of the sale, the risk was all on the agent. Picasso thought, life is tough. After pondering, Picasso and Carl agreed. He wanted to celebrate, but Carl said he loved German. Picasso asked him, have you had too much to drink? Where did that idea come from? The priority was for him to make a name in the art circle, the rest could wait. All he wanted was to pour his heart into creating. His colours were vibrant. Even the local art mogul, Arthur, mistook it for Degas' work. The painting sold for 250 francs. The agent hoped Picasso would create more imitations, they'd sell well and bring him fame. Picasso initially wanted uniqueness, not to be an imitation master. Clearly he wasn't up for that, but as Carl lost himself in love, he kept borrowing money from Picasso, leaving him broke, so he agreed to meet the buyer via the agent, hoping Picasso would paint a portrait in Renoir's style. The agent confidently said Picasso can use any master style. But Picasso managed to squeeze out a smile. The buyer's remarks finally pushed him beyond his limit, thinking to himself, and you, with your measly knowledge, dare to preach to me about painting style. That's absolutely hilarious. The agent caught up, revealing Picasso's empty pockets due to his drunk friends. You still think I'd paint blooming dancers in Paris? You need to find those little girls in the style of Renoir, but first, I to eat something. You need to paint a few girls, but Carl got rejected by Germaine again. He quit painting. Picasso decided to take him back to Spain. I'll urge him not to leave. As he rose to fame in Paris, Picasso joked, I'm just imitating others. Are you going to help cause some success now? Did you leave because you were scared? You can't paint a perfect picture. He had no words. Stubbornly leaving, Picasso resolved to find new love to forget his emotional woes. He returned to his uncle's in Spain. He never painted again, saying he helped cause heal, until he saw his work causing a stir in the papers. Casa, are you talking about yourself now? Is it because you're ashamed of your father's name? Of course not. Do you really think I'd give you money for meaningless paintings? This is not pointless, it's an investment. His uncle praised his early work, but now sees him as a cartoonist, urging him to stop wasting talent. Picasso couldn't take it. He knew not to delay Picasso, so Carl deceived him, saying Barcelona when he headed to Paris for Germaine. He couldn't forget her, but Germaine had another. At the party, Carl made Germaine read his suicide note. Ultimately choosing to end it all, Picasso returned to Paris, heartbroken over Carl's death, blaming himself. He thought he should have chosen to leave with him had he made that choice. Picasso's paintings dramatically shifted to cold grey blue tones, flowing with loneliness and despair. This period came to be known as his Blue Period, a time when his work became so deeply gloomy and melancholic that the agent refused to sell them anymore. Picasso bluntly stated, I fell apart because of my friends' despair. He couldn't create vibrant art, which merchants ignored. His exhibitions failed with the wealthy, but gained attention. One buyer pretended to need to know the artist before considering collecting, so the gallery owner shared Picasso's address with him. Broke Picasso thought this guy was coming to buy some art and excitedly began showcasing his work, but the buyer just said he was a poet. A poet's life was tougher. He couldn't appreciate Picasso, but understood the beauty of existence in his works. Picasso said nobody would love them, but the poet saw them as masterpieces. Though he couldn't afford them, he still wanted to treat Picasso. At the dinner table, the poet said he could see through it all, claiming love would play a big role in your heart. Picasso was indeed unable to pay the rent anymore, and he found a wonderful rapport with the poet, so he decided to embark on creating together. At night, the poet recited his piece, If the wounds those I love inflict are on me, how painful that is. Should those wounds occur in summer, that signifies endless bitterness. What is it that leads me to summer and love if not that kind of endless pain?